All right, welcome to your brand new 2017 BMW R1200GSA Adventure. So this is our new triple black in the first 2017 that we've had come in here, so congratulations on that. We're going to go over this motorcycle in its entirety, starting at the front and working our way around the lower parameters of the machine, getting the handlebars and instrumentation last.
Nice.
So we're going to start out. You've elected to have the Continental TKC 80s installed already, which is nice, beautiful. It's going to give you all kinds of new opportunities off-road and exploring with extra insurance on the tire side. These are a 19-inch cross-spoke rim, which is going to be a tubeless system for you. We're going to have a recommended tire pressure with stock tires, 3642. That's going to change with this machine. I'm sure you've done some discovery work with your last GSA and what works for you on your off-road situations and street compliancy. But we'll play with that. We have our fork leg system here, which is really more of a structural component. It's there for our springs and fluid to be in there, but our true suspension is our monoshock hidden up in the back. That's our telelever suspension. We have our new regularly mounted brake calipers, which came out in 2014 when they went water-cooled. It's a more effective braking system for our floating rotors and radial calipers. Steel braided brake lines are guiding those up to our master cylinder, so we don't have any expansion properties. We have more true, actual, what we apply here is what we get at the back of the piston cup. You saw on the front as we started this bike up earlier that we have an LED lighting system on the front to increase your illumination. Our auxiliary LED lights down at the bottom here to give us an extra visibility to be seen and to see. Our GS Adventure models come with a full perimeter engine protection for our engine, our valve covers here, and our upper bracketry. Right behind that is going to be our access port for our radiator fills. So we do have a cooling system on the new water cool. One radiator per cylinder there. Only the right side is going to have a cooling fan on it. You'll hear that kicking on when you reach temperatures 220 or in that excess of 220. Notice our new snorkel location up here. We've raised from your 2013 90th Anniversary Edition GS Adventure the snorkel's up taller, so we have a resituated air box that is now driving our fuel injection system down into the cylinder. And the header pipe, instead of coming out front, relocated to the bottom, keeping it more compact as well as having a residual effect of keeping the heat from the header in the front, cooling our exhaust valves off a little bit more. So another nice German engineering technique.
Yeah.
Just like your machine, we have our starter back here. Our battery's located in this position, which we have an Allen or star bits that we have under our seat. I'll show you to access our battery behind this cover here. Like any Adventure, we have our pedal clip that we can change our pedal height for our brake pedal. We have our Adventure pegs to give us more bite and more grip on this motorcycle. Wheel guards concealing our rear brake master cylinder. Steel braided lines like on the front guiding to our ABS module and dispersing that to our rear brake caliper. So we're still braided all the way around. So the next thing is that we went to a removable subframe going from your air oil cooled to the new water cooled GS Adventure. Okay. So now if we had a boo-boo out there in the mountains somewhere, we bent and tweaked our subframe, we can just replace that component. We don't have to pull our motor and replace the whole frame assembly. So we are also looking at our preparation for our panniers, which will be the aluminum pannier system. The aluminum pannier system, just like you had on your machine, just a little different mount, so we're going to get different panniers put on this machine. Redesigned exhaust system, and actually notice how we switched the side of the exhaust in the shaft drive. The parallel lever is now on the left side instead of the right. We have our exhaust flapper valves right here, if you're ever questioning what that is, and that's right behind our cat. Our suspension is going to be the Dynamic ESA. It's a SOX manufactured rear shock here that has an extra module that allows us to change, which we'll go over electronically, changing our preload for 3 different values and changing our damping for 3 different values for each preload. There is some changes when you get into the Adventure Enduro modes, and I'll show you where you lose your normal damping value of soft and hard only. Coming around the back, we're going to have our clear turn signals and amber bulbs so that we stay 50 state compliant. We're illuminated from the license plate on the back. We have our brake light assembly. Our brake light assembly is going to be, and it's all LED in here as well. So beautification, baby. Our beautiful single-sided swing arm or our parallel lever shaft bars.
Does it walk through the camera?
Yeah, I'm recording still. Our shaft drive system with a torsion bar on the top. This is where we use a specialty plate to mount your state inspection for Genius and is doubly permanently affixed to your motorcycle. While we're in this rear area, and your passenger pillion pegs can be removed and unbolted from this. So if you don't want them there, you would. In removing the rear seat, we turn the key clockwise towards the rear seat. Pulling that up and there we go. That's where we're going to access our toolkit.
Oh wow, look at that.
So we have different format than what your 12 GS official looks like. We have a flat plane, and we have a little bit of exposed components. We have the ability to slide this back or forward. Notice that these two here slide back or forward, just like in the locking mechanism up here.
Oh, cool.
Give you a little bit more back support if you need it.
I got you. Cool.
Now to remove the front saddle, we can twist it counterclockwise. Removes the saddle, accessing the Enduro Pro plug, that red plug right there, where you can plug in to access Enduro Pro. Which with the tires that you have on this machine, we are now ready to do that. It's just if you're ready for the electronics, we're eliminating rear ABS and having a more instantaneous draw response than any other mode. It's the playful dirt bike, which I'm sure you'll want to play with. We can change the saddle height. Right here you can see how it says low. We flip that to high. Now we have a seat that's going to be cantered high in the back, low in the front. We can change the front from low to high by just flipping this mechanism over here. You came in with high, so I'm going to put this back in high, but I can run that. Can't do this.
Tilt it back. Okay.
Some people do that to keep a little flatter plane on it.
I got you.
But we're going to keep this thing in high for your tall butt.
Okay.
So, we're going to slip these bad boys back on. I don't know where our toolkit and everything is. And we've completely put this back together. Next, we're going to have this side cover right here, which is where our starter relay is, under that cover. Below that, this black box, our Gear Shift Assist Pro. Gear Shift Assist Pro is what allows you to clutchlessly upshift and clutchlessly downshift.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. So what we need to do, pull the clutch in at a stop sign. Moving from the stop sign, pulling the clutch out. From that point, we can clutchlessly upshift. We just need to have the throttle maintenance. We have to have it open or open it. Idealistically, it's more comfortable between that 2,000 to 6,000 RPM range. And we can do aggressive shifts up above that, but it's more, you're in the power of the motorcycle, so it's very definitive. When we're going to downshift, we need to zero the throttle out completely, have it all the way closed, just step down on the pedal. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
You'll see how smooth and effective that is. It does find the right RPM for it to go to, so it's safely going through the gears faster than any human, and eliminating that human error, pulling the clutch in and out, in and out. There's not much more for me to show you on the left side of the motorcycle except the side stand, which has a side stand safety switch on it. That's going to kill the bike when you take off the first or second gear with it down. It's a bad day when you have the side stand down and on the left-hand corner. Go ahead and put that up. Just like your 12 Adventure or your 13 Adventure, we do have elliptical adjustment for the shift pedal, so that we can change that and find it perfect for your riding style, your boot size, things of that nature.
Okay.
Now we're going to get into the fun part. So if you want to climb aboard your motorcycle, on the right-hand side, we have our ride-by-wire. This is a ride-by-wire system that is a rheostat in this housing, sending a signal to the ECU of what to do. There's no more push and pull cables. We're going to have our heated grip element right there if you want to push that button just to see what it feels like. And below that is our mode selection, which I'm going to demonstrate this once we have everything gone over, so that after that, we can hit up the instrumentation and see what visual changes it makes. Okay. We have our mode selection that's going to give us rain, road, dynamic, enduro, and we put our red plug in Enduro Pro. So I'm going to keep the Enduro Pro under wraps until the 600 mile service, okay? Now we're going to go to the left handlebar controls, where we're going to have our illumination for our auxiliary LED lights. We have our electronic suspension adjustment, lower portion of the button, ABS, and traction control are on the top portion of this button. Trip and information. Trip on the top of the button is going to cover the top portion of the board. Information is modulating the bottom portion of the board. Conventional horn, different from your 13
Yeah.
So we're not having paddle turn signals. Now we are left and right on the left hand only. Pushing in for cancelization. High beam, we take our hand, we now have the trigger switch. So we can pull that in for intermittent flashing, badass triple black coming through, or flick it forward for a constant high beam.
Oh, okay, cool.
So one of my favorite pieces is the things that they do with the mindset of let's keep the customer's hands on the controls. Let's not make him take his hands off the controls to modulate anything. That multifunction controller on the far side here, that's going to work our navigation system. If we put a navigation system on it, that's all it does, but it keeps us from putting our hands up here.
Right, okay.
Also, our clutch and brake levers can be adjusted on the fly. We can push these out and pull them in without having to pull the lever out and twist it.
Oh man, I see.
So as temperature changes, as you have more miles and heat on the brakes, things change. We want to keep consistency for safety. We can rotate that out and get the exact same position we were in by modulating the friction zone for the brakes and for the clutch. So going into the next hands-free thing we've got, our fuel entry is hands-free. So we're going to flip this. You just flick that up forward. I've got the key here, so it's in.
That's what you did. Oh, okay.
So there's no more key to access. You can stop, fill your gas up, push her back down, never take the key fob out of your pocket. Our ignition as well is keyless, so one tap of the button there, but it does multiple functions. Not only is it going to start it, but if I turn my handlebars either direction, I go to the stop, bring it back a few millimeters, constant hold the button. You heard it slide as locking mechanism. Give her a quick tap there. All right, Kenny, you've unlocked it. Get ready to ride off under the wheelie in the sunset. We have also an auxiliary socket located here.
Nice.
Underneath our adjustment on the fly for the windscreen. Again, another feature that's going to keep our hands on the controls as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, doing good. Good to see you, sir. Mr. GS himself. Navigation we don't have here to demonstrate right now, so we're going to skip that part. But let's get to the meat and potatoes, the electronics and instrumentation of your 17 GS Adventure Triple Black. Let's hit our ignition. It's queuing up. We see our tachometer and speedometer and everything coming into life now. So we're going to have our upper and lower board we talked about, our timepiece, our mode selection, our heated grips, gear indicator, and our fuel level. First thing we're going to start with is just our heated grips. We're going to go over the buttons we did earlier, backwards.
Okay.
Give her a tap. Got them off. Tap it again. You have nuclear level, that's super high, low,
Okay.
and off.
Okay.
Below that is mode selection. This is something we can do on the fly. So, tap that one time. You can see how it brings up and says, I'm ready to change. It's going to stay there for 3 seconds or so, and then it's going to disappear. And we want to do this on the fly strategically. We pull the, what I do is I get up to the speed I want to be at and just a little bit above, because I know I'm going to have to coast for a second, because I'm going to have to close my throttle and pull on my clutch. So I find that right now I'm on road mode, but it's going to start raining here in a second. I can see it in my forecast. So I get it to set there where it's thinking, hey, I want to change. Close the throttle, pull on the clutch, let it coast for 3 seconds. It'll change on your screen just like it did there, and then we take back off on the throttle.
And then it's in that mode.
And then it's in that mode.
Okay.
So right now we have it in rain mode. We can switch it back to road mode if you want to just give it a tap. And now it'll time out here in a second that I verified I went to road mode. Our run cycle switch is one button, which is, I think, a lot better system than what you had on your air oil cooled models with the rocker or the rotating switch and the push button. This is integrating that into one switch. Right now, BMW does not require the clutch to be pulled in the start, so if I hit this all the rest of the way down, we would start this machine right now. So we're going to put it up on the kill mode for us right here. Now we switch over to the left controls. With the left controls, what we're going to have, starting at the front, we experienced our high beam, and now we can see our high beam switched on the bottom right corner. You got your blinking going. You see above that the green auxiliary lights. I have my switch for that located right here. New to you, cruise control. So on these little 30-degree mornings when you're coming in here, we can flip it on there and stick our hand in our jacket for a minute, warm it up, right? But we have our heated grips to help us, so just more of a range thing, and it's very consistent. With a very big, torquey motor, we have the ability to stay within about a mile an hour, uphill, downhill, any conditions we throw this thing in. very precise for you, keeping you safe. So we call it not just cruise control, but speed control, because you know how fast these things like to liven up.
You're right.
To operate it, would you slide that switch to the left side for me? Oh, to the right, I apologize, I had it to the left. So you slide it over, and then push that little flap forward, whoop, and you hit set. You're gonna have, once you're going at speed, at least over first gear, after about 30 miles an hour going, we're gonna have this thing lock in. It'll give you a visual indicator that your cruise control is on the green dial clock. So to kill this, we can kill it with a switch. We can use our micro switch in the clutch. See that little switch? Doesn't take me pulling it in much. That's my favorite way to do it.
Okay.
I just run my finger over it that way. But when I do that, with the ride-by-wire throttle, you start the cruise control here, you released it, it zeroes back out. With all that torque we talked about, engine brake comes into effect if we just kill the cruise control. Alright, so we eliminate that by giving ourselves a little throttle maintenance. Have a few degrees of open throttle, now prevent that nice smooth transition from cruise control back to the speed you were at. Keep moving around too much.
I got you, yeah.
Mostly important when you have a passenger on the back.
Right, yeah.
So now we're going to have our turn signals. I just want to go over most of the visual stuff in here. We can see where they're located. That's one of the new things that they did. Yeah, they have it integrated into one little switch there with the new instrumentation they had for the 2017s. We have our ABS, our traction control, and our ESA. These two lights flashing on our instrumentation right now are stating that we have not self-checked and verified ABS and traction control is working. Once you rotate these 7 miles an hour or so, we will go away. If you ever see it illuminated there, is that Kenny made a conscious decision to turn off that traction control or ABS, or potentially if you know you didn't do that, you would have a fault light showing that you have some maintenance required for that particular item. Okay. So 1 second burst on the top of that button for me, sir. A little bit longer. 1001. Oh, I don't have the mic running right now. Sorry, my apologies. But I would hold that button right there, and your ASC would turn off. Let me hit my switch here, and that might make a difference for me. 1001. There we go. Okay. So what I did when I have that light illuminated solid is that I know I turned off my traction control. Okay. And that's the first one to come off. Now do a constant hold of that button. Continuously hold. Continue. See how now you rotate, now you can let go. You went through the ASC and went to the ABS. So now your ABS is off, but your traction control ASC is on. And we can turn them both off if we want to with another hold of the button. And then we cycle them back off. Or the best thing, I don't want to sit there and cycle. Or anytime that I just get off of my motorcycle and get back on, it's going to come on with traction control and ABS, the safest possible mode it can be. Okay. So the last thing we have is, on this one button switch, is our ESA. So like our menu button, we can do this with activation of the screen first. So we can do one tap on the shocks picture right there. And then we can tap through it. Normal, hard, soft, that's changing our damping. Below that, you see the single helmet, so give me a constant hold there. Now we're single with gear, constant hold. 2 up riding, constant hold. Single up riding mode in normal riding condition. Remember I said I was going to go back and talk about our enduro mode, so I'm going to put you in enduro mode real quick. And now I'm going to do a little trick quiz for you. Put me in normal damping, 2 up riding for enduro mode. Yes, sir.
There's no normal.
There is no normal.
What about 2 up?
2 up will work. All the damping values change, but preload stays the same. But it's
soft and hard, but no normal.
Exactly. So we're going to switch you right back to that normal mode for taking off in road, single up riding, and back to normal damping values. Okay. You pass.
Thanks, man.
No, that college education.
Yeah, that's right.
So then we get into our trip and our information menus. Hit the top button for me, sir. Right now we're one more time. This is the start of it. Odometer. We have our odometer. Another tap takes us to trip 1, trip 2. Then we go to our range on fuel tank. Then we get to setup menu. So do a constant hold on that for me. That takes us to GPS time on. Yes, if our GPS was on, we wanted to correlate back and forth some information to communicate. Next clock, setting our timepiece. We're at 12:19 right now, so we're set for you. We have our date. We have our EcoSoft. We have that off. That's going to just put a big arrow up there next to your indicator and say, hey man, at 3,000 RPM shift, most fuel efficient possible ride you can. It's more annoying than anything else. Set up for the screen here. Before we go on, hit the information button for me. This allows us to modulate. We go down to 5. Bam! So now we've just gotten the illumination all the way to its peak force. And then when we set it, you hit the top button. This is our tire pressure monitoring system. If we take our TKC80s and go off-road.
Next week, if you're available.
Roger that. We'll make it happen. You're all, sir.
Wow.
Then we're going to go to turning our tire pressure monitoring system on or off when we have our TKC80s on there. We're going to lower our tire pressure down to say 18 pounds of pressure. It's going to say, hey, fault light, buddy. You're not supposed to be at 18 pounds of pressure on this motorcycle. We can override that fault light. Next, we're going to go to our trip. And we have our basic or custom board computer. So we go back down to info and tap that, and it goes to custom. Let's look at custom, and we're going to hit trip again. Trip takes us to exit. So we hold on the exit, and let's look at the changes we made. We went from basic to custom. So now, trip button. We're going to have an odometer. Then we go to trip 1, trip 2, trip A. Then we get to range on tank, then gallons per hour consumptions, and see how we're adding different things to this. We got our speed there, and this is something that you can modulate and put what you want up into that custom computer. So you can play with that on your own, find the personal preferences that you prefer. A lot of it is some duplication. So when you're leaving, to keep you from getting overwhelmed with information, I like to keep you in basic.
Basic, okay.
And then I put you on, since you're taking a trip right now, range on tank. We got 228 miles where we filled your tank up for you right now, which is active, and it'll change. It'll show you what it's doing. It'll probably increase once you actually get out of the parking lot. There's only 2 miles on this bike. It's like it's got no ride. Then we have our info button. We're going to go down to the bottom board computer. First we have date. We'll start tapping through. Exterior ambient air temperature.
70.
Engine temperature, 69, consumption average 1, 2, and then our average speed. Our tire pressure monitoring system, which once we get rotating, these all kick on around the same time. We gotta rotate the tires, get the ABS traction control working, and then our TPMS will kick on and give us within a 2 pound tolerance.
Okay.
I haven't rode this new 17, we just got it in the first person to acquire it right out of the box, so with that said, the previous model stayed within 2 pounds. I don't know if there was any technology difference there. It could be too high, it could be too low. So say stock pressure is 3642, could be 3844, could be 3440.
Right.
But you know you're within a good tolerance range. Still actively get in there and use your tire pressure gauge.
Right. Okay.
Next on the info button, we're going to get into our oil check. It'll say okay when the machine is running or not. Date. Exterior ambient temperature, and we rotate it to reverse. So we get one, give me a few more clicks. One more right there. Tire pressure monitoring system, man. That's where I like to be. Keep my range on tank, know how much fuel I got besides my fuel gauge here, but a little bit more calculating meter in our tire pressure monitoring system. That's important. We could hit a nail somewhere and start losing pressure, and that's going to give us an indicator before the tire pressure monitoring system warning light comes on. That, oh, I'm losing air. Better pull over and get somewhere. So we went over your motorcycle, except for your little pocket right here to keep your toll money in. We got your Virginia State inspection slip in there right now. Is there anything else about this machine that you think I need to go over more thoroughly and discuss with you in more detail?
I think you covered it well.
Congratulations,
Thank you
Ken.
very much.
I appreciate the
I'm
heat
excited.
business.
I'm
You're gonna have fun. I
Yeah.
guarantee you that.
I love it, man.
You made a lot of jealous people this year.
Well, that wasn't my intent, but I got it
You
first.
can't help it, man.
Right, yeah.
You can't help it. That's just what I do. I look good on my triple
I
blades.
got you.
Awesome. So we're going to take it outside, get your photo with the motorcycle so we can be on the wall of fame over here.
Oh, okay.
And then we rock and roll down the street.
Nice.
Get back home and show off.